Hey, welcome to the Monarch Experience podcast. It's Mr. Ancona, the Mancona, your host. And I am super excited to share with you today what is something very different than I think what we've normally done here at the Monarch Experience. This podcast has always been about giving students the platform to voice their opinions about what matters most to them. And today we're actually going to do something a little bit different. We've done a lot of virtual Zoom podcasting. We've done a lot of episodes with former students, and my goodness, that has been so rewarding on a personal level to be able to reconnect, but also on a professional level and a personal level as well, to be able to help the former students of Memorial connect in a way with our current students and vice versa, right? Because that's what this whole podcast is. It is a platform for connection. And if you know me, you know that the biggest thing that I believe is important in life is connection and communication. So let's communicate. Today, we've got a really interesting, different episode set up where various students have sent their voice messages in highlighting what they are going to remember the 2019-2020 school year for. And we're only focusing on positive things. And this episode is all about staying positive and not letting something that we don't have control over define our year or define how we're feeling or define us for that matter. But before we get to any of that, some of you may know if you've been following the Monarch Experience on Twitter and on Snapchat and throughout the year, I've been really pushing. I had this idea that I thought would be cool. I'm kind of getting tired of using other people's music. I thought it would be really cool for students to continue to create and to be the focal point of this awesome podcast. And I thought, man, what a great way that would be if we can get students to create, to collaborate, and deal with me and create an original theme song for the Monarch Experience that I can use for every single episode. And I had a lot of ideas in my head for what that would kind of sound like. My joke constantly to anyone that inquired or kind of was like, yeah, what are you thinking? I'm interested. I kept saying Motorhead meets Taylor Swift. Okay, don't judge me. But finally, Evan Chang got in touch with me, a current 8th grader, and said he was interested. Now, I don't know Evan at all, or I didn't know Evan at all, and I remember he walked into my room and was like, hey, I've got some ideas, and I wanted to run some by you, blah, blah, blah. And I created a number of original pieces. And I was like, whoa, dude, this is incredible. Like, talk about being a go-getter and, like, doing things. And from February, basically, to right before schools got closed down, Evan and I kind of were going back and forth about different ideas and what I imagined. And I do not have a musical background, though nowhere near what Evan has. You're going to find out very soon, if you don't know already, that Evan is a musical genius. And I am not the only person who has said that so far. So we went back and forth, and long story short, or short story long, Evan basically came up with one of the pieces that I really loved, and I thought it really worked. It was upbeat. I thought it captured the vibe of a very lighthearted podcast. And ultimately, we went back and forth. And I thought it was over. Honestly, I'm not going to lie. Evan, if you're hearing this and you're shocked, I really kind of thought once schools shut down, and I just thought there were so many other things that were far more important going on in everyone's lives that I thought to try to hunt down a student that I don't even have to help make a song for a podcast that we do. I just thought that in the grand scheme of things, it really wasn't that important. And I was very surprised and very pleased when Evan got in touch with me. And basically, Evan was like, hey, I still want to do this. We're going to do this virtually, though. It's going to be a little bit harder, but I still want to do it. And Evan did it. Evan did it. And with the help of some other fantastic students that Evan knows through jazz band, Aarav Desai and his brother Nivant, Nivant, I had a number of years ago. Miss you, dude. I still have your pic. I still have your quote on the wall where you said, I just want to know. And that's like the basis for everything that I love is I just want to know. And Ayush Bobra, did a fantastic job creating this piece. And I could go on and on about the creative process. You know, if you're a Monarch Experience listener, and you regularly hear me talk about the creative process and how important that is to me and how I really want to get students on board to talk about the creative process. I could do a whole episode on just the creative process with Evan. Evan, I got an idea for a podcast maybe over the summer. You're going to hear what is our intro to the podcast for every episode. So I'm so excited to be able to use what this final product is. So, hey, without further ado, here it is. This is the Monarch Experience theme song. This is our intro music. This is Evan, Aarav, Nivant, and Ayush being musical geniuses. Come on, tell me that didn't put a huge smile on your face. I listened to it the first time and I was grinning ear to ear. My son was actually with me and he started playing like table drums to it. And I was like, dude, you like that? He's like, yeah, I like that. Let's hear it again. Put it on again, smiling ear to ear. So seriously, what awesome. And if you're not a musical person or if it's not your musical style, I mean, just the thing that you have to comprehend is that someone who knows no music theory, I was in a rock band in high school, is talking to Evan, who is a musical prodigy, basically, and understands music theory. And what he came to me with, I was literally able to say, here's a Bruce Springsteen song that really uses some saxophones and a little bit of like the horns. Maybe you can do something that's got a little bit of that. Or, I really think it'd be cool if we threw a little bit more floor tom work on this song. And I don't know what kind of musical style Evan is interested in personally, but just me being able to articulate that, Evan took that and just immediately molded what was very different from this originally into what you just heard. So I cannot express how incredible it was to be able to chat with Evan about this and have him direct and organize and plan and delegate all these really good application and resume verbs with his friends and for what they were able to do. Seriously, I cannot thank you enough. This is so incredible. And what's even more amazing is that, again, this Monarch Experience podcast that started a year and a half ago with no idea for what it would be now has students imprinting their legacy on it. Incredible. Really, really fantastic job. Okay, so for a topic for today, we're going to do things a little bit different. We don't have a guest with us. We have various call-in guests, basically. So my idea for this episode was that, COVID-19 and virtual learning is not going to define our year. Sure, of course it is an enormous part of our year. And it is probably the thing that we are going to most remember, right? Let's be real. But I think that it becomes very easy to focus on a lot of the things that were taken away from us and not focus on any positives. So without this sounding completely like a kumbaya, like let's be super positive no matter what, because that's not realistic. The idea for this episode kind of came to me, and I'm going to get a little serious for a moment and just share, because I think that's only fair. So I've always believed personally that I would never ask my students to do or share or write something that I would not be comfortable doing, sharing, or writing myself. So, and I think that it obviously is going to be, that's going to apply to this podcast as well. So I have to share something personal then. This year, was definitely a year of many ups and downs. I know that sounds super cliche, but a lot of struggles. And with every struggle, we're always given a choice for how we react. We can't control the stuff that happens around us, but we can always control our reactions to them. And it may not be our fault that something happened, but it's our responsibility to be able to react accordingly or to react the way that we want to react. So, personal story. My wife and I were very excited to be able to share the joy and the excitement of us expecting a baby girl in July 11th. So as of recording, we are about 4 weeks away from baby girl Ancona entering this world. And in the fall, when we found out, obviously, we were thrilled. We were excited for so many things that were going to come with it, but just the idea of we were going to be having another child, we were excited that our son would have a sibling, and all the things that go along with that kind of joy. I was excited for my wife to be rightfully pampered, basically, and get a lot of love and attention from family and friends, and to kind of have the spotlight shown on her. And I was excited for a mini vacation that I was doing with some of my best friends over spring break. We were excited for other things that were going on in our personal life that we were just experiences that like all of you out there were excited to be able to go through and have. And of course, school stuff. End of the year, graduation, swim club, the year just winding down. I think we all know 8 years of school for my 8th graders. You've all experienced the end of the year. And especially when it's a moving up ceremony or a graduation ceremony, there's this sense of bittersweetness where you're saying goodbye to one part of your life, and there's these connections that you forge that you kind of get to say goodbye. And we still have this amazing opportunity to keep in touch, obviously, but it's the end of the year. There's something always special about it. And maybe it's just me, but I know that I'm definitely the type of teacher that loves the last couple of weeks of school, because we get together and we forge relationships all year. And we've bonded, we've gone through struggles together, we've maybe gotten on each other's nerves at times, but ultimately, we have worked through something together. And that's what always makes the end of the year so special, is that it's this culmination, this celebration of all of that hard work, the struggle that we've gone through. And I think I started realizing, as the reality of school being shut down for the year, that I felt robbed of all these things, robbed of the things in my personal life that I was going to hopefully go and enjoy, and robbed of just getting to share the excitement of the end of the year with my students and how much fun that is. And I'm going to be honest, I was angry, very angry, very unhappy, I think is probably the best way to put it, from basically March 14th to probably the last week of May. I was bitter. I was pretty unpleasant to be around. So if that ever seeped through, I'm definitely sorry. But this is real. And I think it's important that I'm sharing it. And the reason I'm sharing it is because I know that there are other students out there in our school, in our district, that I'm sure have wrestled with so many different feelings that they've experienced during this time period. I'm sure I'm not the only one that's had these types of feelings. And it's so important, I think, to know and to have that kind of comfort that other people are feeling the same thing, because it normalizes it in a way. And we like to feel like we're not losing our mind. But basically, my wife was very patient, amazing. She's incredible. And at one point, towards the end of May, we were having a nice heart-to-heart, like we usually do. And she said to me, "Mike, only you can decide when you don't want to be angry anymore." And for some reason, it seems very like, wow, how profound. But it was, because it was what I needed to hear. Because I realized that I don't have to walk around being angry about this. I'm not the only one who's lost things. I'm not the only one who's had things taken away from him, whether they're obviously the most serious, or if they were smaller things like vacations or little things like that. And why that's so important for me, and why I feel like I'm sharing that with all of our listeners right now, it's just simply because if you felt angry or you felt any other things during this time, it's completely normal. And you know what? You're not alone on this, because adults, kids, all of us, we've all had to endure this, and it is not easy. But that was a turning point for me, because I started realizing, there's a lot that I can choose to be grateful for, and there's a lot I can choose to focus on as a positive, from things like how incredible so many of my students have done to be able to take the onus and put that on themselves to excel, and to be able to show how independent they can be, what great independent learners they can be, and how well off they're going to be when they go to college and they have to be in charge of their own learning. And I started focusing on the things like obviously the excitement of what's going on in my personal life that's coming up, but I started also focusing on all the other positive things. What I'm going to remember, my students laughing, my students making jokes, my students making fun of me, the amazing learning experiences that we've had, whether it's social experiments in my C-level class, where they probably still hate me for it because I got them every time, whether it was vocab baseball, where I've gotten to see certain students really, really shine, or whether it's just simply conferencing with students about their writing and getting to kind of connect on a one-to-one basis and really, really get to know them not only as writers, but most importantly, always most importantly, as humans, as individuals. And all those things, Battle of the Quads, like there's so many fantastic, my jacket that I wore during Battle of the Quads, like that's a positive. So there's so many things that we can remember this year for, and that's only the tip of the iceberg. That we've got so many great experiences. So I decided to send out an email. I put it out there on social media for our students, and I asked them to send in voice messages identifying what is the thing you're going to remember the 2019-2020 school year for. Positive things only. It could be virtual learning. It could be before virtual learning. It could be silly. It can be ridiculous. As long as it's something positive, tell me what you're going to remember this year for.
The Monarch Experience is coming to an end, and I'd like to share my voice message. This was an experience I've never felt before. I felt like this was extremely different from everything else I've done. When I first heard of this, I thought I want to be on this. I want people to hear my voice, and I want to express my true inner self. And the fact that I got to be on this show twice, it's amazing. And then I look forward to the future of this. And one of my favorite memories was when Mr. Ancona was constantly calling me Ryan, and I had such a great time. And I hope for the best for the future of this podcast.
Hey guys, this is Tushar in 8th grade. So when you're talking about positive experiences, we all have positive experiences throughout the year. It can be classes, it can be something as simple as, just the bus ride to school. For me specifically, I'm in band, so I have lots of fun experiences in band because, I'm with all my friends, I'm doing something I like to do. It's like relaxing, it's nice to do. But, you know, we all have, fun plans throughout the year. But, since coronavirus, just to stay safe, we have to social distance and all that stuff. So that's kind of messing it up. But, we'll get through it. We're all having positive experiences. We may even be having some positive experiences at home. So anyways, I hope you guys are staying safe. All right, see you.
My name is Juva Lapakshi, and I'm in 8th grade. One of my favorite memories from this year is Battle of the Quads because there was a lot of heart-throbbing anticipation leading up to it. I mean, there was good heart-throbbing anticipation, but on the day it actually happened, so much stuff was so anticipating, and there was so much tension, and it was so much fun on that day. So I'll remember that memory for the rest of my life.
Hello, my name is Arti Gunashekaran. I'm a 6th grader in Mr. Osborne's homeroom class, and I'm here to share my favorite memory of 6th grade. So it starts in the lunchroom, and we all start laughing crazy, historically, I don't know why. And my friend Dia spitting her water in my face. My friend Zoe's choking on her food. My friend Ashi is, of course, drinking Gatorade and suddenly spits it out, and it spills on her t-shirt and the table. And my friend Naaman accidentally throws her lunchbox and it goes across the lunchroom and it hits a lunch aide. Oh no. It hits the lunch aide and she comes down with her eyebrows. It's really funny. And we all hold her laughter when she comes and talks to us. But then after she goes, after we get in trouble, we all start laughing again. But I hold Naaman's lunchbox because I don't want to get in trouble again. So that's basically my favorite memory of 6th grade because all of my friends were laughing.
Hi, my favorite part of the school year was when I got to hang out with all my friends during lunch and I got to have fun in class and my teachers would always tell jokes and it was really funny. My name is Alana, and I was in 7th grade, and I can't wait for the next school year. Bye.
Hello, my name is Callan, and I feel like my favorite part about this school year was going on the field trips, and especially during the Harriet Tubman movie. There was something about that was just amazing. I'm not too sure if it's the break from the school year or if it's being with your amazing teachers. I don't know what, but there's something charming about field trips. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Liz Laverman, and I'm in 8th grade. And one of my most memorable moments at Marble Memorial Middle School was competing and working up to BOTQ. I loved spending time with my team and coming in for lunch to create the dance, and I would do it all over again if I could. I'm going to miss the school so much, but I had the best 3 years at Marble Memorial, and I'm going to miss it a lot.
Hi, my name is Brigia Volman, and the best way I could describe my memorial experience is the best year of my entire life. This is because everyone here in Memorial is so kind and loving and supportive, unlike in elementary school where I was always picked on and bullied. Here in Memorial, I felt safe and welcome. The students that helped me feel like I belonged and that I could do anything and supported me throughout any of my decisions. And the teachers that were so kind and loving and made me feel like I was smart and like I could achieve anything and tried to help me in any way they could. I am forever grateful for that. And I just want to say thank you for everything that you have done. I cried when I went into quarantine, knowing I can't wake up to such a loving and amazing school. Thank you so much, Memorial.
A positive experience from this year was definitely Battle of the Quads. I really enjoyed this because it was like a friendly and really exciting time where we could all have fun and compete against each other in a friendly competition. It was like so exciting, and I loved the energy that moved throughout the entire room. Like everyone was excited about it, and there was a lot of fun competition, which I really enjoy. And I really enjoyed it and all of watching everybody compete. It was really fun, and I love that we were able to interact as like the audience. And I love that like my entire quad came together, and it was a lot of fun.
Even though the last few months of middle school were cut short, there are still so many great memories from 8th grade. Some things I loved about 8th grade are all of the projects we did. I loved all of the science labs, Barbie, Bungee, and math class, all of Mr. Ancona's social experiments, and I loved decorating the homeroom doors for Battle of the Quads. School might have ended earlier, but there are still some great memories to hang on to.
I am Bradley Lau, and I am in 8th grade. My most memorable experience of 8th grade was a time when I found out that I had made the school basketball team. This was a great achievement for me because I had worked for my entire middle school career to get onto the school team. Since I love playing the sport, I enjoyed every day of working with my teammates. The moment that I discovered that I was going to be a part of the team, it became my most favorite experience of 8th grade.
I'm 8th grader Zane D'Souza. This year has been an overall positive learning experience. It's hard to pick any specific class, as whether it was brainstorming for Explorer Vision in Mr. Petey's science class, creating podcasts and videos in Miss Rothy's ELA class, debating with my peers and doing mock trials in Mrs. Hendrickson's social studies class, and dabbling in stocks in the stock market game in Mrs. Murthy's math class. Each experience was fun and unique. The band, bell, and choir concerts, especially when I had the opportunity to accompany the choir on the piano, helped to boost my confidence levels, not to forget the interesting skits we did in Spanish and fun games like Swamp Ball and Gym. Overall, it's been a truly memorable year for me at Memorial.
I'm not the only one that is obviously trying to stay positive, and it's not always easy. Of course, some of us are going to hear this and we're going to immediately think, "Oh, look at him. He's an idiot." And you know what? That may be true, but that's not the point. The point is that you can choose what we decide to remember this year for, positive memories, or what we've learned from negative memories. Whether that's self-discovery or whether that's you being put in an uncomfortable position and kind of having to rise because of that. Stress is an amazing thing. It creates its feedback for your body, for your mind to be forced to adapt. What we were able to do is we were able to work together to the best of our ability. And I've learned this year, especially, that is such an incredible compliment to be told you're doing your best, because that is all we can ever hope to have other people say of us, is that you did whatever your best is. You worked to your max capacity. And that is what I'm hoping we can define this year as a year where obviously it was an enormous struggle, right? There's no denying that. And some of us have struggled more than others in a lot of different ways. That we've chosen how we decide we want to react to everything that we've had in front of us. And hopefully, whether it's short term, or whether it's long term, that we are better for it. We're better people. We're better friends. We're better family members. We're better communicators. We're just simply a better version of ourselves coming out of this than we were going into this. And I'm so thankful for all the students that were able to submit their voice message. We're done for the year, but hey, who knows? If you reach out to me over the summer and you got a cool idea for a podcast episode, let me know if you got any good ideas. We could either save it for September, we could do another virtual one at some point towards the middle of the summer. Happy graduation to my 8th graders, obviously to our 5th graders within the district. Congratulations on your moving up ceremony. To our kindergartners, congratulations on moving up. I hope everybody has a safe, a fantastic, a rewarding, and a very, very, very much deserved summer off where you can reconnect with the things that matter most to you. Until then,